Well, it is getting very serious with the Kansas City Chiefs and Royals situation, possibly both moving to the Kansas side of Kansas City. We've got new updates regarding the situation. It's now come out that there is bipartisan support for potential bonds that would help fund around 70% or more of taxes that would pay for the stadiums. It is a way better potential agreement than what the Chiefs and Royals' current situations are. In Missouri, you've got the Royals seemingly stuck in the mud after about 5 or 6 different proposals, looking for something in Jackson County. This could be their way out. And then the Chiefs, their potential $800 million renovation to Arrowhead Stadium got completely shot down. That was a combination, them and the Royals going at it, trying to get funds for the renovation and a Royals new stadium, neither of those things happening. And now it seems like the state of Kansas very desperate for a team. A lot of those lawmakers want both the Chiefs and the Royals. They want pro sports on the Kansas side of Kansas City. Kansas is making a big run at Kansas City's pro teams with a plan to help pay for new stadiums. You can see this article from the AP. Kansas is making a serious run at becoming the new home for the reigning Super Bowl champions, with legislators approving a plan Tuesday for luring both the Chiefs and MLB's Kansas City Royals away from Missouri. Bipartisan legislative supermajorities okayed the measure to authorize state bonds to help finance the new stadiums and practice facilities for both teams on the Kansas side of the metropolitan area of 2.3 million residents, which is split by the border with Missouri. The plan apparently has been passed by the Republicans and it's going to the Democrats. While the Democrats have stopped short of promising to sign it, they're saying in a statement that Kansas now has the opportunity to become a professional sports powerhouse. So yes, it does seem like this has bipartisan support from both the Republicans and the Democrats. Now, the lease is up at the Truman Sports Complex in January of 2031, but we already know that the Royals have said they're going to be out of Kauffman Stadium by 2030. And it's interesting with the Royals because we saw about a month and a half ago the proposal of the Dome Stadium get leaked, or I'm not even sure if it was leaked, it was just released, that the lawmakers saw on the Kansas side of KC. What you're looking at right now, that's exactly what I'm guessing would presumably be built for the Chiefs. It is a very generic translucent roof stadium, which is typically what we see when it comes to these, modern stadiums. They want to host multiple events. You do kind of have the idea of well, actually, you can't even plan for that because I'm guessing Travis Kelce is probably going to be retired by the time this thing gets built. But like the idea of Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift and then her being able to perform at the stadium, considering it is a dome. But again, obviously that's really not a big deal when it comes to it because Kelsey's already up into his 30s and he seemingly is slowing down at this point. So when it comes to this, the interesting thing is we do not have a rendering for an MLB stadium on the Kansas side of Kansas City. We've got 5 or 6 different renderings that would be on the Missouri side of KC that have all gotten shot down for various different reasons. They're at their 6th or 7th different rendering, and they're seemingly at this point stuck in the mud when it comes to potential public money support in Jackson County on the Missouri side of KC. So are we going to see a different stadium on the Kansas side of KC when it comes to MLB renderings? Are they going to use the same one that they used, the last time? It'll be interesting in terms of possibly designing a new stadium. If this does happen, I would imagine the cost you would think would be, when it comes to an MLB stadium, around 1.4, 1.5 billion. If you're talking about an open air stadium, that's kind of the going rate. And then with the NFL stadium, it's going to be around 2.2 billion for the translucent roof dome stadium. That's pretty standard. Anywhere from 2.2 to 2.4 is what I would guess. I know they recently said it would be around 2 billion, but there's going to be cost overruns, things like this. Now let's look at the potential details. You can see today was largely, in my opinion, about leverage, and the teams are in an exceptional leverage position. Well, you can't argue that if you've got, the Kansas side of KC saying they're going to pay for brand new stadiums with public money. You never hear that. But because they want a team so bad, they're pushing for public money to potentially fully fund or like fund 70% of this stadium when it came out earlier, back in early April, that they wanted the money for the renovation to Arrowhead. It didn't happen. The Royals wanted money for a new stadium. It didn't happen. Now they've got significant leverage with this potential option to go to the Kansas side because of the amount of money that's going to be funded through state bonds, through public money. I think the Chiefs and the Royals are using us. According to a Kansas City area Democrat, the votes on the Kansas Stadium financing plan were 84-38 in the House and 27-8 in the Senate. Lawmakers from across the county, even Western Kansas, far from any new stadium, supported the measure. It would allow state bonds to cover up to 70% of each new stadium, paying them off over 30 years with revenues from sports betting, state lottery ticket sales, and new sales on alcohol taxes. So apparently it's up to 70%. So it's not 100% of each stadium, but it is a significant amount. Normally, you never see that nowadays, where the public money for a new stadium, let alone two new stadiums, is 70% through state bonds. And they're going to say, well, it's going to be alcohol taxes, it's going to be state lottery, things like that, sports betting. That's how they're able to get this passed and get the general public to agree on this. And then you can see also there's going to be shopping and entertainment districts around the new stadiums. And we've already seen the renderings for what the NFL stadium will look like. There are a few surrounding areas, it looks like, with buildings like right next to the stadium. That's kind of the district, I guess, with restaurants and things like that. The stadium's location is kind of surprising to me. Just from the rendering, seems like there's not very much around there, but I guess that's where they want to put it, kind of nestled up against a highway. Republican leaders had promised that the stadium proposal wouldn't come up until the legislator had first approved a plan to cut the income and property taxes by a total of $1.223 billion over the next 3 years. Many lawmakers argued that the voters would be angry if the state helped finance the new stadiums without cutting taxes. And apparently the tax bill did get passed, which allowed the stadium plan to gain support, even from lawmakers who saw it as a handout for wealthy team owners, which is exactly what it is. But I'm guessing they're saying, well, the benefit of getting these teams is going to outweigh the cost because of the amount of money that's going to be generated to our area. That would be the argument. So now it does seem like both the Royals and the Chiefs are in very solid positions in terms of the amount of leverage that they have when it comes to them staying, in Missouri versus going to Kansas, because they have these two offers where it looks like they could be getting new stadiums with around 70% of the new facilities publicly financed. I don't know how the Missouri side of Kansas City is going to be able to really match that or beat that. It seems very unlikely at this point. So I would say there's a big momentum shift when it comes to this situation. And the bigger picture story here is this may cause the Chiefs to leave Arrowhead Stadium, which is a loved stadium by a lot of people. And I'm guessing Arrowhead Stadium and also Kauffman Stadium would just be knocked down. That entire Truman Sports Complex would be bulldozed. And this is all happening because of the money incentive from the Kansas side of Kansas City. Potential new stadiums, a brand new state-of-the-art dome stadium, and then a new presumably open air MLB Royal Stadium as well, which we have not seen renderings for, at least not yet. So that is the current situation in regards to both the Chiefs and the Royals. I would say they're leaning towards leaving based on the recent stuff. Unless there's some crazy deal that comes in on the Missouri side, it seems unlikely that they will be staying there based off of the money situation. That is going to do it for this video, guys. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.